Imagine a world without the architects that saves our lives, that builds our cities. Imagine a world devoid of trees and forests and all the things we need to live. That dystopian world that you just imagined is equivalent to a world without marine life. So how many of you here have heard of the movie The Guardians of the Galaxy? Yes, that one movie that has that iconic scene of Star-Lord going da 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 da. Anyways, I'm sure most of you have heard of it. Well, in life, I often wonder these questions. Who matters? What matters? And what does it take for us to matter? And these kind of questions eventually lead to two overarching questions. Who are the guardians of the planet Earth? And how can I be a part of it? Does it include tall trees that can speak one sentence? Or does it include a living weapon that goes by the name Gamora? While that sounds incredible, do you know what's cooler? Our nature has provided us with our own guardians of the planet Earth. And these guardians include the biggest mammals of planet Earth to the smallest, little, tiniest microorganism that you can find. And they all reside in one place, and that is our ocean, our beautiful ocean. So, as a teenager living in such a fast-paced world, I've always dreamed of quiet dreams, where life was still and there was place for me to breathe. And 2 years ago, when I was grade 7, I watched this video of a family swimming with humpback whales. It was beautiful, it was quiet, it was peaceful, it was everything I've ever dreamed of. In that span of 30 minutes, I have realized something. That the ocean has been so welcoming to us in letting us explore their world, in letting us be a part of their world. And so, I stood up, I grabbed a pen, and I wrote on my bucket list for life, swimming with whales. And at night, I talked about it to my mom, dreamed about going to Tonga, swimming with whales. 2 years later, now, I still don't know about everything. However, the knowledge that I did gain from researching about these mammals have made me realize a painful realization. That my dream that I had when I was 12 years old might become an addition to yet another impossible dreams, like becoming fairies or fighting battles, because whales have been on the brink of extinction during the 19th and early 20th centuries. During these times, they were being hunted for their meat, body part, oil, blubber, cartilage. Putting this problem into the spotlight, the International Whaling Commission has decided on a whaling moratorium during 1986, with the exception of scientific whaling and whaling for tradition. However, this did not last long, as whaling countries such as Japan, Iceland, and Norway have since then used the excuse of scientific whaling to continue their hunt for whales, even if these whales end up in the food market eventually, sold as food. What we don't realize about killing these whales is that we are simultaneously killing our solution to climate change. Now, everybody knows that greenhouse gas has been the forefront cause of climate change. About 6,558 million metric tons of carbon dioxide is being emitted every single year. That is equivalent to 650,000 times of our Eiffel Towers, or 110 million times heavier than your house. And this is only for transportation. We haven't considered the carbon emission emitted from industries like fashion, agriculture, electricity. Not only that, if we continue this unsustainable lifestyle that we are unable to change, we are seeing the extinction of animals and plants, and eventually will lead to the extinction of us, of humans. But we found hope in nature. Whales actually act as carbon capturers, so they accumulate carbon in their bodies during their lives, and when they die, they can take about 33 tons of carbon dioxide and sink that to the bottom of the ocean. 33 tons in comparison to the 48 pounds that are absorbed by trees every year. 33 tons compared to 48 pounds. Not only that, whales aren't the only proof that marine life is the solution to climate change. Little tiny microorganisms such as phytoplanktons provide us with the air we breathe. They absorb about 40% of all the carbon dioxide that we produce. We are breathing the air of the ocean. Phytoplanktons also produce more than 50% of the oxygen surrounding us. Every day, every second, we rely on these phytoplanktons, on these organisms. And whaling have an effect on this phytoplankton because whales provide nutrients in the ocean through the action of swimming and excretion, and through that, this phytoplankton can finally live. But if we continue whaling, we are looking at a future where carbon emission will be the one constant that hinders us from achieving our dreams. Thus, why don't we avoid that regret by making a change now? We also live in a very demanding world where one type of seafood isn't enough to fill our plate, to fill our hunger. And therefore, as you can see from the graph, seafood production have been increasing, and commercial fishing has thrived off of it. There are a plethora of different ways we do commercial fishing. For example, one of them, the most dangerous one, is bottom trawling, where they drag nets across the ocean to scrape up fish and every single thing that it encounters. These nets are as big as a football field. The United Nations has estimated that 95% of our ocean's damage is a direct result of bottom trawling. The other method is longline fishing, where they drag a boat which drags a long fishing line with several hooks on them. And this results in bycatch. Animals killed without intention. As many as hundreds and thousands of whales, seals, sharks, seabirds, sea turtles are killed every year because of this bycatch. And excessive fishing also means an excessive amount of fishing gears. Now, I personally have never seen fishing gears in our landfills. So I wonder, where does that go? Where does our fishing gears go? Little did we know, it is closer than we think. Our fishing gears end up in our stomach, marine life stomach, and our ocean. In 2018 alone, 300 sea turtles have fallen victim to our fishing gear, to our doing. Now, what we need to realize, the mindset that we need to have, is our ocean is directly impacting our health. You see, a polluted ocean leads to polluted fish, and a polluted fish leads to polluted food, which is what we consume. Our body is one with the ocean. By depriving our ocean the time it needs to heal, we are actively depriving ourselves from the healthy lifestyle we desire. However, fishing isn't our enemy. In fact, it contributes to a major part of our economy. It is the way that we do it that needs to change. A few months back, I had my mom knock on my door, and it went a little bit like this. Knock, knock, and she asked me one single question. She asked me, do you want to go diving? Do you want to get a diving license? And you know, me as an average 14-year-old who is terrified of the dark, deep ocean, looked at her and was like, yes, sure, let's do it, let's try. So fear was there, but it was accompanied by a sense of thrill and curiosity. I watched videos on people exploring this other world, of looking at alien-looking species. And from videos, I went to watching documentaries, watching everything about the ocean that Netflix can offer. And I noticed something. This documentary are flashes of warning, telling us that despite our ocean looks like this on the surface, it is dying. These documentaries are a cry for help, a shriek, and we are still ignoring it. Now, diving centers, media, and traveling articles promises us of a clear, beautiful, abundant ocean. And while these promises may be true for now, while some part of the ocean may still look like this, we will have an empty ocean by 2048, estimated by the scientists. Now, I'm standing here, talking to you all about this in the year 2021. We don't have much time, but we do have time. We can change it. Our ocean looks like this. There is hope for us, for our future generation to be able to see what we see, which is this, a beautiful ocean. Now, I've talked about how we live in such a fast-paced world and how that may come as a disadvantage. But there is one advantage for it, is that there are blooming change makers which are thinking of innovations every single year in order to make the world a better place for us all. And our society have grown so much because of them. But the only solution that is currently applied is the idea of aquaculture, or sustainable fishing. Unlike what the name suggests, we are still far from being sustainable. Sustainable fishing is defined to be a process of fish farming where fish are grown in a packed space. During this pandemic, I've realized how easy it is for us to spread infections. Now imagine us all in a crowded room. One person is sick. It is more than likely that more than one person will come out sick, and these people will be unproductive as they need rest and medicine. The same idea applies to this farm fishing. One fish gets sick, infections will spread, marine life will die, water will become toxic, and result in an unproductive and inefficient industry. A study by Marcia Barinaga has told us that a 2-acre fish farm can produce as much waste as a town of 10,000 people. Now, we as consumers do not want this to be the place where our seafood comes from. Not only that, these fish that are being farmed in these sustainable farms are most likely predators, which requires billions of wild fishes to live off of. 5 pounds of wild fish is needed to produce just 1 pound of farmed salmon. Now, whoever coined the idea of sustainable fishing clearly needs to get a fact check on what sustainable means. So what now? What can we do? Are we hopeless? Is there nothing that we can do as individuals? Well, to that question, I say no. There is something we can do. There is hope for us. In fact, I can provide you 4 different things that you can do right after my talk. 1, consume less seafood. Now, I'm not telling you that we need to eradicate it because seafood is delicious, but by consuming less of it means a huge impact. For example, have a meat-free Monday. Think of the law of demand and supply. With less demand, less supply will be needed. Second, consume local fish from local fishermen. Here in the beautiful island of Indonesia, we have plenty of mackerels and catfishes, which are fished in a smaller and sustainable way. Third, consume seasonal fishes, such as lobster from September through December. Stick with what you can find locally. Fourth, spread the word. You see, I've always heard about climate change and plastic pollution, and while these are incredibly urgent problems too, not many knows about the history and blood that goes behind our seafood that we eat. So, I want you to go out and talk to one person. This one person is all we need to make a change, to create a movement, to save our planet and our ocean, to save ourselves from the extinction of humans. To conclude, I would like to give you some qualifications that you can do so that you can become a part of the guardians of planet Earth. You, yes you can be a part of the guardians of planet Earth in just a few steps. 1, be kind to marine life. Consume less seafood. Consume local fish from local fishermen. Consume seasonal fish and use your power to spread the word. Let us work on keeping that promise of a beautiful ocean, because as Sylvia Earle, a marine biologist, once said, with every drop of water you drink, every breath you take, you are connected to the sea. Thank you.